All right, welcome to the last Pat's Pulpit mock draft show of the draft season. I am Ryan Kieran. That is Keegan Stiefel. That is Ryan Spagnoli. How we doing tonight, fellas?
It's finally here, boys. Keegan, we've been.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. The spreadsheet started that in like September. Like, it's
yeah,
kind of
no,
wild. This has been. I don't know if it's. I thought last year was long. Obviously, it probably was longer because of COVID. But this maybe just because the season didn't go the way we wanted it to, and it was such an odd year from like dating back to last year. This has been the longest time from like the
yeah.
time of the off season to the draft. It's dragged on. I'm so happy it's here.
Me too.
With the amount of news, like free agency, they didn't do a ton in the trade market, but like the amount of the amount of things that they could do, going into the draft, I feel like we've gone through 5,000 different scenarios in the past 3 days. So it's been a drag, but tomorrow night I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Even Friday too. Not to cut you off, Ryan, but I think Friday's just as interesting as Thursday.
Oh yeah, but it all starts tomorrow.
For sure, 100%. I love Friday typically more. It's a little longer,
Yep.
and you hear see some of those guys that you really want that aren't round one guys.
It's officially the weekend too, so you can really enjoy. I happen to have Friday off this year, so tomorrow night's basically the same thing. But yeah, I'm excited. I completely agree that this one was so long. It's probably a combination of the season was disappointing, so this draft matters more than it has in years for the Patriots.
Right.
All the quarterbacks and the Patriots kind of fluctuating. It started off like, what are they going to do at a quarterback? They got to go up and get one. Then Cam comes back and it's kind of like, all right, well, they have names. They were linked to Jimmy. They were linked to some of the free agents, Andy Dalton, Derek Carr for a little bit. You guys remember that? Like they were kind of linked to all these veteran names. So the rookies kind of went away and then it circled back to the rookies. And now Jimmy's coming back up. And it's just been this kind of like ebb and flow throughout the entire season. It's just exhausting. I'm ready to know.
This week is just, there's so much out there. It's hard to kind of, you just kind of tune it out, I think, just because.
Right.
In terms of like mock drafts too, from like analysts, like they do a great job. I'm not shitting on them, but I don't think anyone ever gets the Patriots pick right. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so hard to
Usually we're hoping they don't take like a defensive tackle. This year now we're all like take a quarterback. It's a different feeling heading into the draft than like I hope they don't take this guy versus I hope the next 10 years of the franchise is riding on this guy, So
and it's so weird too. Like last year, obviously probably because we didn't know how life after Tom would be, and we got a little bit of it. Obviously we tasted it last year, but there was none of this. And obviously they're at 23 and it wasn't as deep of a class and guys weren't, I guess people at the top of the draft needed more quarterbacks than they do this year. But like, you didn't hear any of this last year. It's so wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just completely lost my train of thought, but whether you're in like, whether you believe in Cam, whether you maybe want Jimmy Garoppolo or Jarrett Stidham or no one, like every, no matter where you stand on every other quarterback prospect, everyone in the Patriots fandom is on board with going to get a young quarterback. Which is the craziest part because in terms of the quarterback position, there are so many different split factions in Patriots fandom right now, but everyone agrees that no matter what the other part of the plan is, it could and probably should include going to get a rookie quarterback.
Before we get into this, I want to touch upon the Jimmy news, and we talked about it, Keegan. So I know your thoughts, but Ryan, I wanted to get yours. And I had tweeted out today, got some, people hated it. Some people agreed that if they don't get one in round one, isn't he a better option than, a guy on day two, which I think I'd rather take a chance on him rather than another dart throw in rounds 3, 4, 5, or maybe even someone on your current roster. I'd like to hear you. And I know you're not a Jimmy guy, but I think you can at least be reasonable enough to give a take here.
I like Jimmy more than anyone that would be on day two in a vacuum. Like if we were to if Jimmy was in this draft, it would probably go, Trevor, Fields, Lance, Wilson, Jimmy, Mac Jones, everyone else.
Yep.
But sending the assets for Jimmy, it probably wouldn't be a lot, right? Maybe a 3rd round pick. That unless they're going to restructure his contract before trading him, so he's super cheap for the Patriots. I would rather have Cam, Stidham, and maybe insert whoever you like on day 2, day 3 than Jimmy at his contract. If he were to get cut or if they're going to restructure it so he only costs however, say $5 million, $10 million this year, then that's a different story. I would take him, yes. If there's a world where they could acquire Jimmy Garoppolo to compete with Cam, and then also acquire like a Justin Fields or Trey Lance to slot in next year, and then it's Jimmy versus Cam for the right. Then again, that's on board because they still have a plan for future. My biggest concern would be Jimmy Garoppolo being the future plan.
No one's mentioned this, but they don't have a ton of spots to fill, but they have a ton of draft picks. Yeah. Pull a Ditka, trade all the picks that you can, get Jimmy G and Fields, and let's just have a good old-fashioned quarterback battle. I love it. I think that's a great idea.
If it's Jimmy versus Cam for 2021, it's fine. It's fine with me. I still think Cam is the better quarterback there, but if Jimmy wins it. I'm not going to complain about the better quarterback winning it if that turns out to be Jimmy. If they go in and it's Jimmy versus Cam for 2021, 2022 and beyond, that's where you start to be like, all right, what are we doing here? You just had a prime opportunity, especially after the Teddy Bridgewater trade today, to go get a quarterback of the future. And now you're looking at the future versus, you're fighting off a 30, how old's Cam now? 32-year-old injured quarterback
He's 32,
Jimmy's turning 30 this year.
Yep.
Oft injured quarterback who, if either of them play well, are going to be immediately expensive after this year.
And both of them had injury concerns being linked to the Patriots prior, right? Like Cam did last year, and Jimmy obviously does now too. So, yeah, Nick, he is 29 right now. He'll be 30 mid-season, so round that up and call it 30. This is age 30 season. So if he's part of a plan for this year to compete with Cam, I have no problem with that. If he is someone that they're identifying as like, okay, this is our guy for the next 3 years, that's where I'm a little skeptical. But we'll see how it goes tomorrow night. This is going to be a 7-round predictive Patriots mock draft. So this isn't necessarily what we would do, but this is kind of going to be our best stab at what we think they would do. Last week we didn't do trades, but we did more operate in how we would want to go about it. Sector. So if you see something that we don't like or that you don't like, yell at the Patriots history and not us, basically.
Right.
But that being said, let's get into it. I set the draft to slow so that if we want to do trades, we can pause it and kind of talk it out, which also means that this is going to move kind of slowly. So it's not wasting any time. Oh, I hit trade, not start. Oh boy, this is really slow. All right, let's pause it here. So Trevor went 1, Zach Wilson went 2, Mac Jones went 3, Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. Trey Lance and Justin Fields are on the board here. If this is how it shakes out, I probably wait, right? The other factor that the Draft Network kind of allows you to cheese a little bit is they don't make computer-to-computer trades. So in real life, like the Bears might want to move up here, and we don't have to worry about that. So knowing that, would you guys maybe want to try to make a trade up here just to be safe, or would you kind of want to wait to see if one of them keeps falling?
So this is the way I look at it. Who do we think that the Patriots are targeting at 7? Out of the 3 that could possibly be there, that's Jones, Lance, and Fields. I think number 1 on their board is Mac Jones, and he's gone. So
you think it's Jones?
I do.
I think it's Jones.
I do too. Yeah.
I have too much faith in the Patriots being smart to believe it's Jones.
Yeah. So I do too. Like I'll never say that a move that Bill Belichick makes is wrong before seeing how it turns out. Mm-hmm. But I think they're kind of ready to go back to the old way of doing things. And the guy who can get them there quickest and be ready to go right away is Mac Jones. So that's why I think that he's their guy. He's gone in this scenario. I don't know about moving up here.
The only thing that scares me too with the Fields, and as much as I want it to happen, it's like there's almost too much smoke out there for it to be true. You know what I mean? Like Patriots don't operate like that. We've learned that over the last 20 years. That's the only thing that makes me think it's no quarterback or it's somebody else that we're not talking about.
My counterpoint to that Mac Jones being one old way of things is, I mean, Cam's after week 3, that season went as poorly as possible, and they still brought him back. And Bill has always loved Cam's skill set. He's always talked highly about Lamar Jackson. Running quarterbacks have always been the thing that kills them, and also it's just a different league than it was the last time you needed to look for a quarterback. So I don't think that I still think that they would have interest in the more talented and more athletic players over Mac Jones. I think that they would like Mac Jones too, but I would hope and think that he's probably like QB 3 or 4 at best for them.
Yeah, I just think if they're looking to compete right now, who's ready to go and ready to play right now? Hell yeah, go Ryan. If they're ready to compete and they're ready for this rookie quarterback to come in and play right now, I think that their guy's Jones. That's what I believe. What would I do? Like if we go back to last week and what we're doing, we're all taking Fields here. We're all trading the farm for him. That's just not how they operate. It's not what they do. So I would rather bet on what I've seen in the past than what I think that they should do and what others think that they should do.
Yeah. And again, just a reminder in case you guys came in late. Sorry.
Tough. I'm wrong.
This is gonna be what we think the Patriots are doing, not necessarily what we do as teams.
The other thing too, before we make this trade or whatever we end up doing, obviously you know how the Patriots value the draft and value veteran experience. I think at the quarterback position, they're sitting in a draft room and they have been for weeks, saying, say they have a deal that they think they have Jimmy in place, or even Cam. Where would they rank Cam and Jimmy versus this guy in the draft for 2021 and beyond? That's kind of where it gets interesting for how they value the quarterback position and what they could do here if a trade up is necessary and that guy that we all want is available. Where does that player A fall into who they have on their current roster or a trade in place?
Yep, that's a very good point. If Jimmy Garoppolo is someone that they see for the future as better than if for the next, we'll say 5 years, that takes Jimmy to his age 34, 35 season when you would start to see a potential decline, really. If they like Jimmy for the next 5 years better than any of these guys, then it might not matter if one even falls to them. They might just want to make the Jimmy trade. So I think that's a good point. But I think we're all in agreement then, knowing the rules of the Draft Network. Yes, trades are allowed tonight. Since we can kind of play with the rules a little bit. And this isn't really an unrealistic scenario, right? Two of them still on the board at 7. Maybe we wait and see like this 8, 9, 10 range, see if one goes, and then we'll reevaluate. Sound good to you guys?
Yep.
All right, cool. So let's let these guys go here. We got Slater. I think it's good. All right, let's pause again here because I have a hard time believing if anyone really likes Lance or Fields, they wouldn't have traded up with one of those teams, right?
Yeah, Washington's sneaky. I still think that's a team that's a dark horse team to make a big deal tomorrow night. That's a team that's, I think, a quarterback away too.
I think in terms of trying to predict best what happens tomorrow night, I think we operate under the assumption that one of these guys have now gone and that there's one left. And now that the Broncos acquired Teddy Bridgewater, there's been a lot of buzz that they're already getting a ton of calls for 9 and that they'd be open to moving down. I think this is where we pounce if we want to do it. We also might not want to trade up for a quarterback here, but I think this is where we do it. Otherwise, we say we're not taking the quarterback, even if one falls to us.
See, this is tough. Like, I can't get out of my own head because I feel like the comment section think I'm an idiot. Fields all the way. Like, I want Justin Fields in a Patriots uniform. So just so you all know, like,
will they do it though? That's my biggest.
That's the problem.
I'm struggling to. It's too much smoke. As
much
as I want him to do it, I can't see it. I want to be shocked tomorrow night.
My heart thinks that this is the year. Speaking of tomorrow night, real quick, while we kind of still think on this, if you guys haven't heard, we're doing a live draft show tomorrow night. It will be live starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so half an hour before the draft starts, and we're going all the way through round 1. We have plenty of Patriots guests. We have Mark Schofield coming on. We have Taylor Kyles coming on. We have Brian Phillips coming on. Spags will be hopping in and out. Pat Lane will be hanging with me and Keegan most of the night. On top of that, we have other guests. We have Zach Goodall, Bucks Jaguars guy, who's going to come on and preview the Bucks picks for us. We have Dave Latham coming on, Patriots guy, and more. We have plenty of guests. If you guys haven't heard, so tomorrow night, wherever you're watching this right now, you'll be able to watch us again tomorrow night. Throw us up on a second screen. Watch the draft. Watch it with us. Come give us your reactions. Tell us what you think. Listen to our thoughts, and just hang out. It's going to be a good night.
Just come hang out. That's all you need to do. Just hang with some pals.
Okay.
I'm gonna give my opinion now of what they would do. As much as I just try to talk myself into it, they have to make a move here. They have to trade up. So I'm team trade up.
Yeah, let's go get him.
Yeah.
As much as I don't.
Wow. I thought I was gonna have to side with Spags on a trade down. Okay. You guys want to go get him?
Wait, what are you?
What do you think they do in your heart specs? Because that's what we're doing tonight. What do you think in your heart?
What do I think they do? I think they trade out tomorrow and they trade back 10, 20, 30 spots and pick up 2 and 3 and fill a gap. And it's just a good old Patriots draft. And this is all smoke. We've been here. Like I said, I want to be shocked tomorrow. I want to see Justin Fields or Trey Lance here as much as anybody else. I can't. My heart's set on them not getting it, so I don't get my hopes.
In response to this, the Patriots are now the betting favorites for Justin Fields. There's been reports all week that they've been doing their homework on trade-ups into a top 10, so that's where the smoke would come. Is you really never hear that stuff from the Patriots when they're actually planning it. Of course, they don't do this very often. So, where'd it go? I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but like he's saying, they've been saying that this offseason is going to be different the entire time. We were all kind of, all right, well, if that happens for free agency, and it happened. So It is a fair point. Unfortunately, I expect a trade back too still, so I'm going to vote against this trade up. If Fields is the realistic one to fall to 15, right? So if he shows up at 15, we have another conversation. But I think we pass on a trade up, and if we're wrong tomorrow, we're all super happy about it. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Check and yell at us, but sound fair? All right.
Yep. Yeah. Let it go to 15.
Let's keep it moving.
My heart.
Trey Lance goes off the board. It hurts. It hurts. I mean, I've been saying
the good news here. Fields is going to be there.
Right.
Like the Chargers aren't taking.
We get to have another conversation. Yeah, we're about to have another conversation. I hate that sound. I'm not even gonna. All right, let's. So the Saints are offering us 28 and 60 for 15. That's not enough to me, right? You guys aren't doing that for 13 spots. Okay. Falcons are offering us 35, 68, and 148. That's not enough to me.
Nope.
And then I think we have one over here. Yeah, 20, 83, and 15. That's a little bit closer. But I think we can go offer that to them after talking about this, and they'll take it. Right. So I think we reject these for now. Okay, Kyle Pitts is still on the board. Like, what the hell is that? Okay. This is the only quarterback situation that feels, or Mac Jones being here too, but one of those two at 15 is like an outside chance, I think, at this point. If he's on the board at 15, they have to just, even if they had plans to trade back, they have to call an audible, right? They have to take him.
You at a position that's so like what did they do with Jimmy G? Let's go back. They drafted him in the second round. He sat 2 years, didn't play. 16, he comes out when in the Brady suspension. He played one game and like a half a quarter, and they got a second round pick for that guy. So just in terms of value alone, why wouldn't you take a quarterback here?
Well, look at Sam Darnold this year.
Yeah.
Even if you think that even if the plan is still like Cam Newton, or they want to go get Jimmy Garoppolo at some point, like, if you don't have to give up any additional asset, like if the only asset you're giving up is your own first round pick and then whatever it costs to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, or nothing if your plan is Cam Newton and the rookie, like, I mean,
it just comes back to where do they value him versus
right. The counterpoint is that they passed on Lamar Jackson twice, knowing that Tom Brady was old and coming up on a free agency. They ended up drafting Jarrett Stidham the same year, so it's not like they avoided quarterback, but they passed on Lamar Jackson twice in a very similar, not the same because Tom Brady was still on the roster, but a similar situation of a consensus, very talented quarterback falling into their laps.
If I think I'll give my opinion and then let us talk, through it. But I think here, if he falls to 15, you're not giving anything up except for your own first, like you said, Ryan. The value alone, being able to take him, even if you sit him for an entire year, if you go in the second round, you trade a third and a fourth for Jimmy G, you have him, Fields, and Cam Newton on your roster. If Fields never touches
and Jarrett Stidham
next year,
and
Jarrett Stidham and Jake Dolegala, if he never sees the field next year, you can still go out and get a second round pick for him next year. So why not take the chance? Why not see what you have? You might be able to get a first round, a year in New England system, a year with Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick. I'd trade a first round pick for that guy. So
this is a great point. This is like a unicorn. This is the best. This is by far the best choices at 15 we've ever had for them in the history of the show.
So unfortunate because we're doing what we're doing this
week. We're doing
a
predictive instead of this is a.
I would argue.
My heart still says they pass on Fields. My heart still says they pass on him.
I know it sucks.
I hate it. I think that the chat would kill us if we don't take him here, though. I think we have to. Let's map out what a trade back would be, but then we take Fields because the chat will murder us. How about that? Let's say they don't want Fields.
Jacksonville. See what Jacksonville would do.
I was gonna say the Bears, and the Bears come get Fields. So let's look at the Bears, and we'll look at Jacksonville after too. Come up for Pitts. 15, 20, 83. Yeah, call it a second. We probably have to give like a fourth back, maybe a fourth and like a future pick too, something like that. Or you could get a 3 without having to give anything back, I'd imagine, which kind of fills in your gap a little bit. Still a pretty big drop between 46 and 83, but 52 to 96 is also pretty big.
Right.
So that's something you could look at there. Let's look at Jacksonville now.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Chicago comes up to get him.
But we also know that the Jaguars love Kyle Pitts, and this is way farther than he'd ever drop. So you'd have to think they'd be willing to swap ones, and
they've got such a bevy of picks. Like,
right, you do this not? And this.
New coach you probably want as many firsts as you can.
Right.
Or maybe even you go like a 5 for Kyle Pitts. I think that you could probably get this instead of a. But again, Kyle Pitts isn't going to be here at this point, so it doesn't matter. All right. So we take Justin Fields.
Yeah, we take him.
We take Justin Fields. You have to.
By the way, real quick before we talk about it, if Kyle Pitts is there, and like I'd take Kyle Pitts in a heartbeat. I don't care if you have a million tight ends on your roster. That guy can play.
Right. If Kyle Pitts is there, no quarterbacks are there. You mean?
Dude, if it's him and Fields, I think I might take Kyle Pitts.
Oh, God,
that's how good he is.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yep.
No way. No chance. Absolutely no chance. If it's Kyle Pitts there, yeah, I'm running to the board. But,
absolutely. But
Kyle Pitts over Mac Jones. Kyle Pitts still. We might have to start this over. I'm sorry. Kyle Pitts is there at 29.
And we might want to go faster too.
Yeah.
Did Kyle in this world? Kyle Pitts had a video come out of him smoking weed, and that's why he's falling.
All right. Oh, and I only did one round anyway, so it doesn't even matter. All right. Well, that was all Scott.
What a shit show.
Yeah. All right. We're going to start this over. This is, if you guys are watching for the first time, like you missed 10 weeks of this. I don't know what you guys were doing. I think I just forgot. Okay, cool. Patriots, 7 rounds. We'll do normal speed. That was slow speed. Normal went last. Normal worked pretty well. We can still pause it if we need to. Fast is like you're skipping right to your pick.
You're in trade. Right.
So let's get this again. I am in trade. Good call. All right. Let's get through this again. All right, we're in the same spot, so we're not going to trade. We already established this. Trey Lance goes. This is going to be the same exact thing. We're going to have Justin Fields. Okay, at least Kyle Pitts
goes.
And then we're going to decline trades. We're going to take Justin Fields. All right, so we got to the same spot.
Yeah,
that's all.
It worked out well.
Spot. Yep. All right, now we're getting through.
I think you try to get as many. It obviously, your plan's not going to work out to try to close that gap between 46 and 96 using 15. But I think you can try to use, you have 3 fourths. I think you pick 3 times within 18 or 9. What's it? 120, 122, 139.
Yeah.
You could try to use, 2 of those fourths, maybe like 120 and 139 to try to get into the, if it gets you in the 70s.
I was going to say, I think that they look to trade back from this. And this offer that Washington just gave us is like a dream. 51 and 82, you go back 5 spots and you pick up a third that fills in that gap. That's a no-brainer to me.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's see what the other one is, just in case it's better. We get 57, 88, and then late round picks. I don't want to end up making like a million picks tonight. So I'm sure
they're not going to either.
Right.
They don't have
the
roster space.
So I think you fill in this year, and then you can maybe use it to. Now you have that filled in, and you can get aggressive later in day 2. So I think we take this. We're all good with this. All right. So 51 and 82. We're using 40-60 at 51 and 82. They take.
Then maybe use, like I said, you maybe use 120, 122.
Cost us Baron Browning, which hurts.
To get into the late 90s, early hundreds.
Yeah.
Just right here,
they're not going to make those picks.
Amari Rogers on the board. Gregory Rousseau, Javon Holland.
Right here, before we look at the top available, I think you need to look at tackles and corners because that's what the Patriots do here.
That is true.
That's what they set up for the future in the second round. It's what they've always done.
So we're kind of looking at a bit of a reach at tackles.
I'm a big Stone Forsythe fan. I think he's extremely underrated in this tackle class. Played right tackle 2 years, left tackle started all 25 games his last 2 years. 4-year guy out of the SEC. I think that's a guy you can probably target in the 3rd round.
Right.
So let's take a look at corners here. I'm a big if he's there.
Elijah Molden is a big Patriots fit, right? I know he's
slot guy, probably play safety too.
I was gonna say, if you want to look at safety, because safety is in that similar vein, right? Defensive backs in general is something that they like on day 2, and it's also
there.
something. I was gonna say Javon Holland's here. What do you think, Spags? I think we had to pass on him last week, right?
He had like, I think it was like 18 picks in like 25 career. Played all over, chess piece. Played, in the box. Played slot corner. This guy can play everywhere. It's extremely good value. It's just like, is that another?
We also have Landon Dickerson and Creed
the problem
here,
with that
which are like classic interior options for them.
With Javon Holland, you just signed him and Jalen Mills. Like you've got that guy on your roster. So do you need 2 of them? One of them can probably take on a more like a corner role on a more regular basis, but that's still a tough spot to reach.
I think if we're going to go tackle here, Jalen Mayfield makes the most sense. He could kick inside if he needs to, and it's the Michigan connection.
He slipped a little bit in recent weeks. He was a 1st round pick.
I think Landon Dickerson makes a ton of sense as someone they might target, especially if they like Big Mike on the outside long term. I think Landon Dickerson makes a ton of sense. Creed Humphrey's in that same vein. Dickerson kind of has that like leader and Alabama connection, even though Creed Humphrey is just as experienced, healthier, and a better athlete. So if I was picking between the two, it'd be Creed Humphrey. If it's the Patriots, they might like Landon a little bit more. So that would be kind of the group that I would pick from, like Javon Holland, Landon Dickerson, Creed Humphrey, and Jalen Mayfield.
Yeah, I think we go Landon Dickerson.
Okay,
like I said, because I think you can. Tackle's intriguing, right? Because they have Wynn and Brown essentially on 1-year deals. But so you obviously want to look for maybe a tackle of the future and a swing tackle. But I think they liked what they saw in Heron in terms of that, obviously in year 2. And like you said, you can kick on Wenu out, worst comes to worst. He's proven he can play right tackle too if you need to. So,
So we have an opportunity to move up to 65 from 82 and just throw in a 6th. This would be like, the issue is that we just went, interior offensive line, right? So if you take Jalen Mayfield here, you're doubling down on the line and hoping that he sticks at tackle, not at guard.
Right.
Yes, he is the cartwheeling Bama player, like 2 months off of a torn ACL. So I don't see a need yet to do this, right?
Yeah, you don't need to. But what this does do is it kind of takes away one of those late round picks. But you don't just do it to do it. You kind of need a guy that
I want to try to use those 2 of the 4ths out of the 3 to move into the early hundreds because they're I said they're probably they have 10 picks.
I think moving up aggressively
7 to 8. They drafted 10 players in back-to-back drafts.
Yeah,
They don't have the roster space to do it. This is year they probably go a little bit lighter, maybe with 7 to 8 guys.
And someone mentioned it earlier. Worst case scenario, you get to the back half of the draft. That's when he starts shipping off picks for next year.
Right. You trade a 5th for a future 4th.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. All right. Let's keep this moving on. So the way this kind of shook out is
I'm gonna ride to the Texans. That breaks my heart.
All right, I'm gonna pause it for a second. Milton Williams is here. And I think that it's pretty likely that they target a defensive lineman, an interior defensive lineman, somewhat early. Because that is kind of a position where they're a bit older and a bit more short term. Godshaw's on a 2-year deal. Larry Guy got 4 years, but he's also older. I don't know that we expect him to play all 4 years there.
Yeah,
he had Boyd years in his contract. I don't remember, to be honest. But I think he's someone that's like it's kind of a year or 2, and then we'll see. So
yeah, I think this is a good spot, especially if you're looking to move up and get like a nose guard because that's really what you're looking for.
Right. So we have 2 somewhat different defensive tackles here, right? Tommy is more of a classic nose guard, and Milton's a bit more of an athletic penetrator. Do we think this might be a situation where they look to move up for one of the 2? Or?
I know they met with how do you say it? Togia. I know they met with him at the Senior Bowl. They've kind of kept close tabs on him throughout the draft process. Could be somebody they like.
It's only 6
picks,
spots.
But again, it's the situation where we have all these extra picks. I could see them being aggressive in a situation like this just to make sure they get their guy. It's up to you guys. Leave it to you guys.
Move up and get him.
Move up, and we like Milton Williams there. That'd be the guy we're targeting here.
I like Togia.
Right. All right, sorry.
I mean,
That was who we talked about. I was just reading off what I saw. Okay, so who is it? It's the Giants. So we'd be talking 82, obviously, and then maybe we throw in like the later of the fourths.
Yeah,
maybe we could even get away with the fifth or something.
Whichever works.
Looks like if they're going to take we can give basically anything and probably get this. For 6 spots in the third round, I think a 6 would be more than enough. Although they have 6, so maybe we do a fifth. A fifth because they have 2 6th. So I think that'd be maybe what they push for, and no one's going to complain about a 5th versus 6th, right? 11 spots apart. All right, let's send that. Let's see what they do. Okay, so now we're on the board, and we're going to take.
Just real quick, I want to respond to this. This video is also being broadcast on the website, and you'll be able to go back and go through Twitch and watch it whenever you guys, on demand. So you'll be able to find it on the website under the post. The issue with putting it out as a podcast is the way that we record it. It's not available to publish for about 24 hours, and by then we're going to have so much round one coverage. It's probably not going to be worth it at that point. Yep.
But if you're looking to go watch the rest of this tomorrow during the day, patspulpit.com or the YouTube channel or the Twitch channel, which are both Pat's Pulpit. Twitch is Pat's_Pulpit. I believe the YouTube is just Pat's Pulpit. Is where you can come back and rewatch this. Are you using the Jimmy Johnson?
Sorry. I had it up too.
Yeah.
That's the old person way of using it. We use Rich Hill.
We use Rich Hill. I think the Draft Network uses a combination of value charts to determine how likely this is. They have kind of like a formula that they use. Okay, so we're gonna take Tommy Togiai.
Yep.
We're gonna keep this moving. I can't say it
either. Don't worry. I think here you start to look at a wide receiver. Right. Like we talked about last night, I don't know how much of a need it is to really find that true one. Just because when you look at their target share with the 2 tight ends, you factor in James White, you factor in the money that you spent on Aguilar and Bourne. Do you really need? And they've never had a true one since Randy Moss, so I don't think they value that as much as other teams.
So real quick,
a good depth piece on late day 2, early day 3. I'm all for.
Real quick, I think we missed this when we were making the Washington trade. It wasn't just 83; it was a swap of 83 and 96.
Okay.
So where did we end up trading up to or trading back to? So we dropped 6 spots in the second round or 5 spots in the second round to move up 13 spots in the third round or 14 spots in the third round, which makes a lot more sense value-wise than just giving us our second and third to move up 5 spots. Right. But just for the record, we don't have this third round pick now. Our third round pick was Tommy Togiai.
You can try to get back in with those 2 4s.
Yes, exactly. If we want something in this range, we can still come back up.
Take a look at the receivers or corners. I think this is a good range to try to jump up, maybe with Dallas or something.
I've seen a couple people asking about what we've done so far. So just to recap, Justin Fields fell to our lap at 15. Then I messed up the mock draft. We had to start over, and he fell right back again. So Justin Fields is the pick at 15. Spags and I think in our hearts still don't think that they would take Fields, unfortunately, but we couldn't rationalize it, even though this is a Patriots prediction. We took Landon Dickerson after a trade back at 51, and then we took Tommy Togiai after a trade up. After a trade up at 76. So now we're working in the late third range, and we're going to kind of look and see. You want to look at wide receivers, see if there's anyone that we like here.
Not a ton of value.
Yeah, not a ton of value.
No.
What was the other position you had said?
Corner.
Yeah. Again, not a ton of value. This is kind of the tough spots for those 2 positions. You'd probably need to get one a little bit earlier if you want to get that like day 2 worthy tier.
Yeah, and there's good value at corner when you have that kind of bunch of picks in the late 5th round.
What about linebacker too?
Linebackers.
Cam McGrone is there. I know we talked about him before. Right?
I like him a lot. I think that's a Patriots
that's my guy
too.
And then we have Derek Barnes and Dylan Moses. So maybe we get into this like 100 to 110 range, and we see if a couple of these guys are still there, and we reevaluate.
Try to move up 10 spots for 120 in a 5th or 6th, whatever.
Let's keep this moving, and we'll keep an eye on it as we go.
I mean, if it comes down between McGrone and Brown, you kind of just wait, see who's left, and then you move up for that guy. Because I think they're value-wise, they're similar.
So what do we think about this? 97 for 120 and 188.
I mean, that's kind of that was kind of what my plan was, right? Try to get, and then they'd have 4 picks inside the top 100.
Right. I'm gonna
similar to what they typically try to have.
Just because the logic in these offers versus you making the offer is a little bit wonky, I'm gonna counter offer with the same thing just to make sure that they'd take it. So I'm just gonna unclick all these, and then it's the 3rd for the 4th and the 6th, right? So now we'll send the offer technically and make sure that they would still take it.
And if McGrone's here, I think McGrone's the pick.
I think he is still there. Yep. All right. So Cam McGrone's the pick here.
Bang.
97. Bam. Just recapping. We're not going to trade up again here yet.
4 picks inside the top 100, right? Really no big gap. Yep. The biggest one was between 15 and 51.
Yep. We come away with a quarterback, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, linebacker. It's, filling in. Obviously, drafting the court, Justin Fields isn't filling in depth, but the rest is kind of setting you up with young pieces for the future at positions you're a bit older. So, none of us really loved how the draft turned out last week. I think this is a much better start. Even if you ignore Justin Fields, just the day 2, day 3 picks so far have gone much better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys who maybe sit for a year, probably sit for a year, but they're able to kind of fill a role if they need to, and then future wise, they're
all Power 5 guys too. How likely is that, right? But you
Double
never know this year how
State.
they'll value that because of the lack of a combine.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'll probably, like I said yesterday, the Senior Bowl is probably huge for a lot of teams just because it was their only face-to-face interaction with a lot of these players.
Right.
Yeah, like FCS guys didn't have a season. You hear it a ton with Lance, but there's a lot of other guys who, did I say FBS? Whatever. There are a ton of guys that are going to slide. So,
all right, let's reset the draft a little bit since we're moving a little bit quicker. I'm just going to come up with like a fake trade here, and just to see what picks we have left. So we have 122, 139, 197, 242. That would give us 8 picks. I still think that might even be a little bit high.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think in that like 6 to 8 range is what we'd make. So I think we sit here for now and see how it's starting to fall at 122. But we might even trade back one more time and then move up a couple times after that, or just do one more move up.
So you could use the late 4 and a 6.
Yeah.
To move up again. I don't know. I mean, try to get in or use the 6th and the 7th and a future pick, or try.
Right.
I don't know. They always walk away with some sort of future capital.
I also think asterisk here is the draft network doesn't let you draft kickers or punters. But I think with the depth of this kicker class, 1 on day 3 is almost a lock. There are like 4 or 5, I want to say, draftable kickers this year, which is just an insane number. So with Nick Foles being old, despite how good of Nick Folk being old, despite how good of a year he had, Aguayo's on the roster, and I want to say they have another one. I know 3%er got cut, but
I think it's just the 2.
I think a kicker on day 3 is a lock. So just a caveat there that we can't do that, but just get out there. So we have 4 picks left. I think we should look to be making 3. Some targets in various ranges. Caden Stearns, I think, is a perfect safety target. I know Keegan's been on that one. We look at the wide receivers, maybe like a Daz Newsome, Shi Smith,
Josh Palmer,
Cornell Power, Josh Palmer in the later rounds, and then corners, Sean Wade, again, just the name. Yep, perfect. Just the brand recognition there, name recognition. Ambry Thomas is someone we went last week. So that's kind of be the range that we're targeting here, which means a couple of these might be a little bit of a reach at 120, or 122. Let's see how this falls. I keep hitting trade instead of resume the draft. These 2 should be flipped, I think. If any draft network UI people are watching. Nope. We don't need to be making the trade here, I don't think.
Newman goes to the Lions.
Kyle Trask went to the Bengals. Interesting.
Ooh, Trask fell.
Allerson Smith just went. That was someone we took last week. All right, So now we're on the clock. Let's reset those 3 positions. So wide receiver value is still not really there yet, right? I think that's kind of out for now. We reevaluate at 139.
Yep.
Corner, we got Robert Rochelle. I don't know much about him. I don't know if you guys do.
No. If Yatu Melifon was a guy that you want to talk about, Julian Williams, that's Julian Williams, but a better athlete. So
I think you might have read the name wrong. I think you might have read the name wrong.
Oh, is that on him?
Yeah, it's Israel Mukuamu.
Oh yeah, I can't see. Sorry.
So yeah,
I'm sure Melifano went earlier.
He probably went in the second round, to be honest.
Yeah, he went 72. Yeah. Round 3. Early round 3. All right.
Sorry,
so
guys.
no, you're good. Ambry Thomas is still a little bit early for it, but this is the spot where, them reaching a little bit might make sense. Let's look at just what Rochelle is. 6 foot, 195, redshirt senior. Smaller school. I don't know anything about him. I don't think you guys do either. So let's look at the safeties, see if anyone else jumps out a little. Jacoby Stevens is here.
Yeah, I took him
3 touchdowns in 3 years.
I've taken him in I was gonna say he's kind of a
little bit of a hybrid guy though. Yeah, right. Not super fit.
They typically have that obviously with Duggar, and then obviously they signed Mills. So I don't know if that's a guy that they target, but and I kind of want to stay away from drafting all Power 5 because that's our whole
Andre
draft.
Cisco. Again, not someone I know a ton about. We're just reading this real quick. Again, this is why the Draft Network is the best. If you guys don't use it, you should. It sounds like someone that they might be interested in as a coverage guy. This might be a situation where they trade back and try to pick up like a future pick along with the trade back, like 131 and then a future 6th or something like that. What do you guys think about that? Just like a little trade back here?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Where we don't add any picks for this year, though. So maybe the Jaguars have a ton of picks, so maybe they want to get aggressive. And they go here, and then we grab like they don't want to do that.
We don't even need one for this year. You added one for 2021.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant, like a swap, and then the extra pick being next year instead of this year.
Okay, gotcha.
But if we want to just completely get out of this year, we'd be looking at probably like they wouldn't even let you do that. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, let's do 130 and like a 7th next year. Just add a pick, future capital. That's what they say. All right, they took that. So now we're going to get to reevaluate in 8 spots. Nope. Andre Cisco goes off the board. A couple wide receivers come off the board. A couple of defensive linemen, which isn't really what we're looking at anymore. So Jacoby Stevens is still here. Sean Wade's still here.
I mean, it's a little bit of a reach, but I love Ambry Thomas out of Michigan. I know it's.
Yeah, we took him last week too. I think one thing on Wade projects better as a safety at the next level or like a slot corner. He's not going to play outside. So if you want a guy who has positional versatility, you can kind of kill 2 birds with one stone. That might be the pick.
Yep. I'm good with Ambry Thomas here.
Yeah, so am I.
A little bit of a reach, but not a huge one. This is definitely the range that he'll be going. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, we took Cameron McGrone earlier on. So
once we're going to pick here again in a second, and then I'll reset who we've gone so far for those who missed it. Okay, so we're at the end of round 4 right now. We've made 5 picks so far. Justin Fields, home run at 15. Obviously, we lost Spags for a second, but Landon Dickerson at 51, also a home run. That's someone who could go round 1. The fit isn't as obvious as with Fields, but that's just a great player who Bill would absolutely love.
Right.
Tommy Togiai at 76. That's about the range he goes, maybe even a little bit of a steal. Cam McGrone, again, Patriots guy. Ambry Thomas, back-to-back Michigan players here, but Patriots guys. We made 5 picks, and they've been from 3 schools. And the only one that's not doubled up is Alabama. So if you're looking at historically the type of schools they target, this obviously isn't exactly how it historically goes. But again, in a COVID year where not as many teams played and there's a lot less out, these like Power 5 schools might get a little bit of a bump.
Michigan and Alabama, those are schools that they target.
And Ohio State. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Ohio State too.
He can riff on McGrone a little bit.
Yeah, McGrone, he's an inside guy. A lot of the guys that you'll see in this draft, the top linebackers are kind of move linebackers, meaning they play a little bit more outside. Like a role, think Kyle Van Noy. Cameron McGrone's going to smash heads in the middle. Super physical, maybe a little bit undersized, but he's wide. He's got big shoulders. He can cover. He can play in zone coverage. You're not going to want him playing man on a tight end or anything like that. But he's a guy who can bang in the middle a little bit. I think he's a good potential Dante Hightower replacement if you spend the time on him. If you're looking to really kind of nurture him along, maybe 2 years out.
And just a quick update and report just came out. Yeah, for sure. Most linebackers currently in the league or coming into the league are. a report just came out. Let me see if I can grab who it's from again. NFL Network's saying that the Patriots are preparing to trade in both ways. So they've had talks about trading up and trading back. So just those of you who are kind of all in the trade up, just be prepared, as I'm sure you already are, that a trade back is entirely
don't
possible.
Get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
It's entirely possible as well. I'm here for the blind optimism of the exciting possibilities that we have right now, but just remember that it is the Patriots. The trade back is something that they're still planning for. I won't say planning on, but planning for, and it's still entirely possible.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, but we're all on edge right now. We're
it's definitely the most exciting Patriots draft. Stressful is probably a better word than exciting, but definitely the most interesting Patriots draft that has happened in years. Dark Blue Gold. We're gonna be targeting a wide receiver coming up here, I think. So we'll definitely talk about some of them.
I don't know if you were touching on. I had to step off for a second, but I like Patrick Jones. I don't know what he's ranked. Right there. Yeah, 21 and a half career sacks, 4-year starter for Pitt. I think there's room to grow in his frame.
No,
he's right there. Has a pretty good combo of speed and athleticism and length for the position. I think that's a guy that they'll look to. Like I said, 4-year guys had success at every consistently improved each year.
Right.
They'll add an edge too. But like I said, you can look to maybe trade into the 5th and grab a wide receiver. I don't think it's that needy, but who knows?
Yeah,
let's look at wide receiver real quick. Des Fitzpatrick, Cade Johnson, Daz Newsome, Anthony Schwartz, Josh Palmer, Shi Smith, Josh, that last name, Cornell Powell, Demetric Felton is that running back wide receiver combo, Jalen Darden. So there's a lot of names here that might interest them. No one that's like how are they still here? You got to go get them type.
Right. I think personally, if right here, it's a good spot for edge, and if Spags is sold on Patrick Jones, I like him
Jones.
too.
Yeah, he's pretty high on our board. I think he's like our edge 8, edge 7. Okay. We have
he's a really good two-way player. I think somebody mentioned in the chat PFF is super low on him. That's because PFF you really just have to kind of rush the passer. He plays good against the run. He's a solid player. I like him a lot.
All right, let's go with Patrick Jones here, and then I'm going to pause it and just reset the picks we have left again. Let's pick a team. So we have 197, 242. I like the Caden Stearns pick a lot, the idea of him a lot, and we're probably going to need to do something about that soon if we want him. I don't think he's going to make it to 197.
No.
So we picked up that 7th from Jacksonville. I think maybe we look at 197 and that
159 range with the Chargers is kind of right the sweet spot for him. So
right. So if he falls to we might even just circle back. Let's see how likely they would be to take that. They wouldn't be very likely. I don't think that they would give up too much more than that. So maybe we just let people fall here because we've already made a decent amount of picks. We don't want to have too many.
And flip that 7th for next year. I don't think there's a chance they pick in the 7th round.
Right. So let's
Julian Edelman.
Yeah, let's keep it moving and see if there's if he ends up falling far enough that we could maybe get into this trade up situation. All right, let's pause it. Let's pause it again here. Let's make sure he's still on the board. Yep, he's still there. He's one of the top prospects left. We're in the top 5 left. So let's look at what the Colts have and see if they might be interested in picking up like a 7th next year or something. This is still a pretty far drop to try and do that.
You give him 242 too if you're kind of done.
You're selling this year. I feel like Bill wouldn't do that though. I feel like in the 7th he's either getting his kicker, adding like a flyer at running back, something like that. Because again, with the amount of picks they're making, they're not going to have a whole lot of undrafted free agent spots.
Right.
The way they.
Avery Williams, who we took last week, that's a guy that they take in the 7th round. That's like the guy that they take in the 7th round. So you're right.
Dax Milne out of BYU.
It would probably All right. They're very likely to take this 6-7 combo. So we flipped the one that we got from Jacksonville. Actually, let's maybe even try to flip our own because let's hope that we're better than Jacksonville next year. And we flip our own and we send that offer. So we're coming out of this net with no extra picks next year, but hopefully a move up in the 7th round for as much as that's worth. All right. So we got it. And we take Caden Stearns here. Everyone happy with that? And Caden Stearns is just like a classic Patriots fit.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw want to say it was Doug Kide. I forget who's doing the Patriots, fit profiles. I think it's Doug, and Caden Stearns was way high up there too. Which
he was the safety, the all fit team. Yeah, he was the safety on there. Yeah. So he's a guy. Somebody mentioned earlier, like McCourty profile. He's not Devin McCourty, but he's a guy who can do everything at the safety position, like Devin McCourty. So a good flyer type player.
Yeah,
and also played against him in high school. Pretty cool.
Nice. And then,
I'll mention it every time.
We've already made 7 picks here. So if there's no one that we love at 7, I think we just get out of here with a pick for next year. And otherwise, we maybe look at like a corner, or we took a corner of running back or wide receiver. If there's no running back or wide receiver that we love here, we just trade out for next year. You guys on board with that?
Cool, me.
Yep.
Yeah, so in reality, again, I completely agree with you, Golden. I reserved that 7th for a kicker, maybe even earlier. We know like they spent a 5th on one last year. They're not afraid to. And this is a pretty good kicker class. So Draft Network doesn't do kickers, but if they did, I think that would for sure have been something I took.
Puka Williams just went. That was the guy that I had in mind at running back. Just perfect. Throw him the ball in the flat and just kind of let him run.
All right,
he's a sprinter.
We look here. Demetric Felton's still here.
I was going to say him or Cornell Powell.
Yeah, Jalen Darden's there. Jalen Darden seems like less like someone that they would like as a flyer. Really not much at running back here. So I think the options are Felton, Powell, or get out of here.
Felton.
What do you think? Felton? All right, we do it. End up with a pretty big draft class, probably bigger than we would anticipate, but had a couple good picks fall to us. So this is your Patriots draft class this year, guys. Justin Fields, Landon Dickerson, Tommy Togiai, Cameron McGrone, Ambry Thomas, Patrick Jones Jr., Caden Stearns, and Demetric Felton. This is a locked-in fact because we predicted it, and this is our predictive one. So this is absolutely what's happening. So lock it in, send in your bets now, make a bunch of money tomorrow while you're watching us on the live stream. And then
don't do that. Absolutely do not do that.
And then as you make a ton of money, come thank us. When you lose all your money, don't blame us because this isn't real advice legally. But yeah, quick thoughts on this class. I'm certainly happier with this one than the one we came out with last week.
I think it's a good class. It's a good mix of guys that can contribute kind of right away, special teams wise, and fill kind of minor roles offensively and defensively, but good to set up for the future. You got a lot of guys coming off contracts after this year,
so I'm just gonna I pulled up. Chat's not gonna be able to see it, but I'm gonna read off the picks we made last week and then compare them to this week. So at 15 last week we went Mac Jones. This week we went Justin Fields. I think we all agree that's an upgrade. We went Liam Eichenberg at 46, and this week we traded back 5 picks to move up in the 3rd round and then got Landon Dickerson. I like Landon Dickerson a little bit better. Obviously, they play different positions, but including the trade back, I think that's a win. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's a better pick.
Yeah. Ellerson Smith went 96. He fell a little bit farther in this draft, but we ended up trading up for Tommy Togiai instead. I like that too.
Obviously, we didn't make trades last week too. Like they have 4 picks here inside the top 100.
Just to reset.
With staying at 15 is pretty good.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Cam McGrone went 97. And so I'll go through the rest of the last week's class. We took Trey Sermon at 120, Derek Barnes at 122, Ambry Thomas at 139. So we took him 9 picks earlier this time. Daz Newsome at 177, doubled up at wide receiver with Jalen Darden at 188. Avery Williams, as you were saying earlier, Keegan, we took at 197, and then we finished off the draft with everyone's favorite fullback, Ben Mason. So, yeah, I think overall I'm a lot happier with this draft if this were to be how it goes. Just funny because we were trying to predict the Patriots this week, and last week we were doing what we wanted. And this one turned out way better. I think the
Patriots know us better than we know ourselves. That's how you can put that.
So, Spags, you'll be hopping on a little bit tomorrow, but you're not going to be in the live draft with us the whole time, the way that Keegan and I will be. So give me what you're hoping for tomorrow.
What am I hoping for? Jeez. I mean, I'm hoping for a quarterback, right? I think that's what everyone's kind of hoping for. You have that feeling. I don't want to get my hopes up. I said it at the beginning of the stream. It's like, do we really trust them to give up this much to move up to get a guy? And maybe they're just kind of waiting till tomorrow to see how the draft falls, and they're not sure who can jump them. I think it's one thing's for sure. They're not going to overpay. Like, they're not going to pay King's ransom to move up 7 spots, right? So, and if a quarterback they like falls there, teams are going to, play chicken a little bit and want more for what they're offering. I don't know. I'm hoping for Justin Fields, whether it's at 15, whether it's at 8. How likely is it? I don't know. But I'd like to see him make a pick tomorrow, whether it's moving up or moving back.
Trade out completely.
Yeah, it's typically we don't see that. Like we waited what was it, 2 years ago when they picked 32. It's like I stayed up all night for this, and they drafted a receiver at the time, which we were all happy about. So just if you move up or move back, just make a pick tomorrow. Make it worthwhile, especially for your guys' sake.
Hey, they did it last year.
You say we were all happy about it, but I was jumping up and down for AJ Brown, and then they took Keel.
Last year, they made us wait until 23, and then they traded back. They traded completely out. So, wouldn't be surprised if they did.
At least tomorrow night, if they trade out, we'll know by like 10 o'clock instead of midnight. But you guys should still hang out with us the entire night, because regardless of what the Patriots do, we're going to be live from 7:30 Eastern time until the end of the draft, end of round 1 tomorrow night. Wherever you're watching this right now, you can watch us again tomorrow. We've got plenty of guests lined up. All your favorite Pat's Pulpit or least favorites, if you want to come yell at us. All your Pat's Pulpit people will be here. We got me, Keegan. Spags won't be here the whole time, but he'll be hopping on for sure. Pat Lane's going to be with us a bunch. Brian Phillips, Taylor Kyles, Mark Schofield, Dave Latham is going to come on as a guest. We've got a handful of guests from other teams to kind of give us perspectives from around the league coming on.
Quarterback gurus, Titans, LSU, Giants, all over the place.
Bucks. If you're as much of a Bucks fan as a Patriots fan right now because of Tom Brady, we'll get some Bucks talk in there. We'll get to see how Jaguars fans are feeling about their new future. It's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be really chill, hanging out. We're gonna be hoping to interact with the chat a lot. So if you guys want to come hang out, just like you have been for 10 weeks here, it should be a fun time. We appreciate you guys' support. This is the final Pat's Pulpit mock draft show of the year. Hopefully we bring it back next year, but nothing, as Kyle Shanahan says, we could all be dead by Sunday. So there's no guarantees.
They got to beef up these contracts if they want us back,
driving
traffic to the website.
Exactly. So for you guys, for all of you who are watching, we appreciate you, especially those of you who have been here, every week talking. I'm going to shout out GoldenEye specifically. GoldenEye has been a mainstay since week 1. Talking
Ryan Jackson.
Ryan Jackson, another one. A bunch of you. I won't list every single name, but shout out to all of you who have been hanging out. We appreciate you. Hopefully we see you tomorrow night. Keegan and Spags, thanks for doing this with me. This was a really fun, weekly thing that we did for draft season, and hope that it goes great next year. You guys have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad this helped me get through draft season, because if we weren't able to do this, I don't know what I would have been doing. So it's been fun being able to interact with everybody, and I think we've made like 1,000 picks in the past 10 weeks. So we're bound to get at least one right. I would hope. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
We can hit 2, Keegan. We'll see.
Yeah.
2 out of
this
50.
is I don't know how many we'll hit, but I'll guarantee you we hit one. Hopefully. We hit at least one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, throughout we've done probably 4 full first round mock drafts. We've done probably 4 second round mock drafts, and then 2, a couple Patriots centric. So throughout those 32 or 64 or 10 picks each week, I guarantee we get one right.
I nailed Justin Herron at 197 last week. So I'm on a hot streak.
I'm going to say it. I think we made a pick I think we made the same pick every single week, and I think it's going to be right. I will guarantee that Trevor Lawrence goes 1.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, we're starting out 1 for 1 no matter what happens tomorrow night, as we see them take Zach Wilson instead. But all right, let's get out of here. Again, we appreciate you guys for hanging out all 10 weeks. Go Patriots, and tune back in tomorrow for the live show. Thanks, guys.